The drumbeat stopped. In the suffocating silence of the palace courtyard, Chukwudi stood holding the sacred offal staff, its ancient wood still warm from his grip during the 7-day journey through the forbidden forest. Blood from thorn wounds traced dark lines down his arms. His clothes hung in tatters. But his eyes blazed with the fire of a man who had stared death in the face and returned victorious. "My daughter cannot marry a poor farmer's son," Igwe Okonkwo declared, his voice cutting through the crowd's murmurs like a machete through sugarcane. The words landed like stones in Chukwudi's chest. Around him, the villagers shifted uncomfortably, their faces turned downward. No one dared speak. Everyone remembered Izemuo, the priest, still languishing in the palace cell for merely questioning that Igwe's judgment 3 moons ago. "But you promised, Your Majesty." Chukwudi's voice cracked, not from fear but from the weight of betrayal. "Before all these witnesses, you said whoever brings the offal from Ajọọfọ Forest would marry Princess Adaeze." Igwe Okonkwo waved his horsetail dismissively. "I will give you land, cowries, even a title, but my daughter will marry Obi, son of Igwe and Namdi from the neighboring kingdom." Chukwudi looked at the faces surrounding him, the same faces that had watched him volunteer when no one else would, the same people who had wept and prayed for his safe return. Now they stood silent, imprisoned by their fear. He dropped the offal at the Igwe's feet and walked away, his footsteps echoing in the terrible quiet. The next morning, Izemuo was released to perform the cleansing ritual. The entire village gathered as the old priest, weakened from imprisonment, raised the sacred staff toward the ancestors. He chanted, he poured libations, he sacrificed a white cock. Nothing happened. The river remained blood red, the crops continued to wither, children still cried out in fever dreams. "It is fake," Izemuo whispered, horror dawning in his eyes. "This is not the true offal." Chaos erupted. Igwe demanded volunteers return to the forest. This time, emboldened by Chukwudi's success, 7 young men stepped forward, hungry for glory. They marched into Ajọọfọ Forest with drums and singing. 7 days passed. They did not return. The land's suffering intensified. Homes collapsed. The sky turned gray as ash. Soon, families abandoned their compounds and fled to the palace courtyard, the only place that still felt safe. Among them sat Obi, the wealthy suitor who now refused to even look at Princess Adaeze. "Go to the forest," Igwe Okonkwo commanded him. "Prove yourself worthy of my daughter." "I am no fool," Obi sneered. "Let the land burn. I will not die for it, nor for any woman." 2 days later, even the palace walls began to crack. People huddled together, preparing for the end. Princess Adaeze stood at the entrance, tears streaming down her face, searching in the crowd for one particular figure who was not there. Then, like an answer to unspoken prayers, Chukwudi appeared at the palace gates. In his hands, he carried another offal staff, its surface gleaming with authentic power that made the air around it shimmer. The crowd parted as he walked through, his eyes fixed on Izemuo. Without a word, he placed the true staff in the priest's trembling hands. This time, when Izemuo raised it skyward, the earth shuddered. The red river ran clear. Rain fell from the heavens, washing away the decay. Life returned with a force that made everyone fall to their knees in gratitude. "Name your price," Igwe Okonkwo cried, prostrating himself before the young man he had betrayed. "Anything." Chukwudi turned to leave. "I want nothing from you." "Wait!" Princess Adaeze's voice rang out, clear and commanding. She stepped forward, her royal beads clicking with each determined stride. "If a man cannot risk his life for me or for our people, then he is not worthy to call himself my husband." She looked directly at Obi, whose face flushed with shame, before turning her gaze to Chukwudi. "But you, who saved us twice and asked for nothing. Will you marry me?" The young farmer met her eyes and saw not a princess, but a woman of courage and integrity. He nodded once. That very day, under a sky finally clear, they were wed. And the village learned that true nobility lives not in titles or wealth, but in the hearts of those who keep their word when others break theirs.